Hello, tuba players. I hope you are having a great summer. This is Mr. Kruger, and I am here to help you get a leg up on learning this region music. So I'm going to present here a quick lesson on Etude number 1. Alright, so we're looking at Etude number 1. The first thing you should look at when you start learning a new piece of music is over here in this corner, the key signature. You see what I'm pointing to right there? Those 3 flats. Okay, and what that tells us when we see 3 flats there is that throughout this piece, when there's nothing marked in front of the note, we're going to have B flat, E flat, and A flat throughout this piece. Okay, so for instance, right here, measure 2, that's a B flat, right? Okay, so we're probably familiar with that concept, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. But before I move on, we also need to observe some things. Some of the notes have accidentals in front of them, flats and naturals. Okay, and right here in measure 11, that's a note we haven't, probably a lot of you haven't seen it very often. Okay, and that note is C flat. We can see that. But what is C flat? Have you played C flat very often? Well, C flat is actually, it sounds it's fingered the same, it's played exactly the same, and it sounds the same as this note, B natural. So they are called inharmonic notes. C flat and B natural, they are essentially the same note, they're just written differently on the page. Okay, so you're going to play them, you're just going to play a B natural where that C flat is. Because you know B natural, you apply that knowledge to that note, and you're good to go. All right. Okay, so that should help you with all of your key and accidentals, most of the big challenges. So let's move on. Okay, so the next big challenge here, or for a lot of us, is going to be the counting and the meter, the time signature, the meter right here. Okay, all right, so the top number in your time signature, normally that tells you how many beats there are in a measure. Okay, so we see a 9 there, right? And that means normally that we would have 9 beats in the measure. Okay, all right, so if we have 9 beats in the measure, we also need to observe the bottom number. Okay, the bottom number here is an 8. Okay, a lot of times we see a 4 there, and then we're like, oh, well, when we see a 4, we know a quarter note gets the beat. Well, when we see that 8 there, it means that an 8th note is going to get the beat, normally. Okay, so based on the logic we would normally use to interpret the key signature, we would have 9 beats in the measure, and the 8th note would get the beat. Okay, and we know then that there's going to be 9 8th notes, just like look at measure 1, you see there's 9 8th notes there in every measure. Okay, but I want you to understand something, that when we're in 9/8 time or 6/8 time, a lot of times the tempo is so fast, or the 8th notes move so fast, that we don't tap our foot to the 8th note, even though it says that the 8th note gets the beat, or that we would think that the 8th note might get the beat because of that. Okay, we're not going to tap our foot to the 8th note. You see up here, look at the tempo marking that is set for your performance. You shouldn't start learning this at 70 beats per minute. That's going to be a faster tempo. And at fast tempos, it's easy to mess up things like this articulation right here. You see how there's some intermingled slurs, and then there's 2 tongued notes in a row, and then you got these 3 notes joined by a slur. Okay, so we want to get these articulations right. I would advise learning it slower first. Okay, all right, but notice that it says that the dotted quarter gets the beat. The 8th note doesn't get the beat, the dotted quarter does. So when you set your metronome on, because you should always practice with the metronome, you're going to need to set it like this. You hear that? So we hear a strong beat, and that's what you tap your foot to. That's the dotted quarter. All right, you hear that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you can hear 3 clicks. The beat's being broken down into 3 pieces. Okay, we call that a triple subdivision. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or we count often 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. Okay? So if I were counting the first measure here, I would tap my foot to the strong beat, which is actually the dotted quarter here. I'm tapping my foot to the dotted quarter, just like the tempo marking says. But if I were counting this, I would count it like this. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1, 2. All right, now this is weird, okay? We have a dotted half note, and we're probably used to giving that 3 beats. Well, guess what? It doesn't get 3 beats. It's gonna get 2 beats because it's twice as long as a dotted quarter note, which gets 1 toe tap. So this gets 2 toe taps. So if I count this measure, I'm gonna count 1, 2, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1, rest. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1, 2. Excuse me. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1. Off on 3. Now this is new. We haven't seen a quarter note in this time signature. You know a quarter note gets 2 eighth notes. So you're going to go 1, 2, off, right? 1, 2, off on the third click. 1, 2 lolly. 1, 2 lolly. Finger while I do, and count with me. 1, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1 lolly, 2. 1, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1. 3 toe taps. 1, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1 lolly, 2. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 1. 3 beats, 2, 3, off. And that's how all the rhythms go. Start with right rhythms for a good foundation. Best of luck.